Well, some of us have dreams when we're teenagers, and for those of us that are into CBXs, this is the dream, okay? So there are other CBX variations around of the basic CBX, but for me, and for a number of people, the Moto Martin has to be it. This bike I acquired basically in 2017. It actually was a track bike, believe it or not, and it's actually an Ian Foster CBX. I think it's two Bible book. It's in yellow. But anyway, so this bike came back from South Africa in 2017. I basically finished it in 2018, and it's just basically been a showpiece for me. It's only done 20 miles, but the most important thing about it is, at the time I bought this, there's a guy who everyone knows, but I'm not going to mention his name because it's not right for me to do so. But he saw me buy this bike, and his dream was to have a Moto Martin alongside. So when I moved back from South Africa, he and I kept in touch, and I actually had a CBX engine, and he'd acquired a frame, so we started, I sold him that engine, and we started talking about his CBX, and he saw my bike and has asked me to build it. So that's basically what I'm going to do. So the whole purpose of this video is to hopefully share that journey with the owner of that bike, and also for you to enjoy the progress of that bike coming up together. And hopefully at the end of it, we get to a position where we can share both of these bikes alongside each other. For those of you who aren't aware, you know, George Martin and his pedigree of bikes is renowned in the motorcycle industry. He used to take the best of Japanese engines, put them into lightweight chrome moly frames, and create something very, very special. This one's been a little bit modified at the back to look a little bit more modern, but I've actually got a two-piece kit for this, so I can make it look old and I can make it look new, which is great. But it really is the holy grail of CBXs. So anyway, we're going to kick off now, and we're going to show you basically where this bike's going, the parts, and how we intend to proceed. So I'll catch up with you in just a bit. So this is basically part one of the video. I've done the introduction. So now you've come to my, what I call clean workshop for special projects. The reason that I need it like this is because when you're building a custom bike, you need to spend time looking at basically what you've got and how you're going to resolve some of the problems, because as we understand, there's about 170 CBX Martins made. That's the estimate I've heard. I can't quantify that. I don't think even know George Martin knows how many were made, but we believe it's about 170. So the issue that gives us is rarity of parts. So the guy who owns this bike basically sourced his frame here, okay, and there's a long story behind it, but he sourced it. He sourced the wheels, the exhaust, and numerous Martin parts here. Now, the truth is, at the moment, I don't know what parts of those are specific to the Moto Martin CBX, because they were all discreetly different across the model ranges. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, because they're Martin parts, and they have to be modified to fit. But the first part of this build is to get the suspension sorted out, get the headstock fitted. Now I've actually finished the part, and you'll see part of the video of me fitting the shock absorber yesterday in the videos that I'm going to do. You'll also see a previous bit of footage that I did on the engine preparation. So the engine is now actually complete, ready for installation in here. So the first stage is to get the suspension sorted out. So this was fitted yesterday, and I machined 4 discrete bushes here out of stainless steel. These were missing, and you'll see in the video that I provided that actually the frame was bent here. Okay, I don't know if you can see this here, but it was actually bent here. Someone had actually tightened this up on the shock without actually having the bushes in here. So this was bent in by 3mm, so I had to jack that out yesterday, so that's been done. One of the other issues was the headstock. There were a lot of spacers and stuff missing. The wrong bearings have been provided, so I've had to source different bearings which are 20mm depth rather than 17mm, and the bushes. I also manufactured this washer here. So there's a lot of machining that's got to be done. Nothing major, but it's quite important to get this bike back. But when it's done, you won't know that it wasn't original Martin. That's my objective, my aim. But some of the things I want to show you. Look at this beautiful paintwork that's been done here. Absolutely stunning. It's going to be a real showpiece when this is done. And the front fairing is absolutely amazing. I won't bother showing you the rest of the bodywork, but you'll see that when it's finished. So we've got original Martin wheels. We've got RC exhausts that are going to be fitted to this. So the engine is going to be in black, as you'll see. So work progresses on the Moto Martin today. As always with all these projects, it's all about checking first, measuring twice, and in fact 3 times, and then validating your findings. We'll come back to in a moment. First thing is this frame has been powder coated. It's had a lovely job done, and it does really well replicate as close as possible to chrome. I'm not a lover of powder coating, but in this case I understand why it's been done. Problems with powder coating, especially on CBX bikes, where you've got the tight tolerances because the engine is not rubber mounted, it's hard mounted into the frame, is that the powder coating can chip on these faces here when you put it in. So what I've had to do is touch up and just remove the powder coating in here on these faces, and I'll do the same on the engine when I come to fit it to make sure it doesn't chip. So I've done that with a Dremel. But as I said, you know, we measure twice and check and double check, and what I found is where the shock sits in here, we can see here that we've got about a 3mm variance. So I would suspect that this bike has had the shock fitted without the 2 bushes being fitted either side. We can also see that on the bolt, where you've got a gap here and it's tight. So I can push it through, but it should be just a slide fit in there. So I'm going to have to jack that frame out, bringing it back to stock. And I've checked this against my Moto Martin. So yeah, we need to correct that. So I'm going to jack that out using some studding and 2 nuts. Catch up in a bit. Okay, now so I finished jacking this frame. When I started, these 2 nuts were actually together, and they were a tight fit between the 2. Let me just try to focus in. They were a tight fit in between this gap here. So I've actually pulled this out now by 3mm. It was 21.3 and now it's 24.3, which is back to the stock size, and you can see these are now straight, whereas before they were tapered. So yeah, and I've also checked the bolts are sliding fit in there now, so that's now corrected. So what I need to do now is make up the 4 bushes now that will mount the shock, and we'll be ready to go. Okay, so I've obviously we measured up now. We straightened the jacked out the frame. We got 4 bushes to make for the shock absorber, 2 16mm bushes and 2 7mm. So what I'm doing now is making this out of stainless. I'm just cutting to size now on the with a 12mm drill, which is the size of the bolt, and then we'll start machining and parting off. So that'll do now, so I can start machining this off now and parting it off. So we'll catch up in a bit when I get to that stage. So we're just in the process of finally parting this part off now, so this will be 1 bush finish. Nice and slowly does it. Nearly there. Any moment now. There we go. So that's one bush finished. So these bushes are complete now. So we've got all 4 here now, ready for fitting. So we'll get those set up. At the moment this is just a test fitting, as there's still work to be done. I'll probably zinc plate and passivate these bolts before fitting, just give it a nice finish. So yeah, so good. I'll get this fitted and we should be away to go. See you in a bit. So shocks are now fitted. I'm very pleased with the result. It's looking good, absolute perfect fit, and we can see that it's damping when I just trying to put some weight on it, but you can see it there. Trying to press this at the same time, I can feel that's nicely damp now, so that's good. So yeah, so that's a major milestone actually, because that was not an easy job. It's just taken quite a bit of the day to get that done, but it's worthwhile and fitted correctly. So yeah, moving on to the next stage. Catch up in a bit. So really that's about it for the moment. So this is part 1. The next time I'm hoping that you'll see me fitting the stem, the triple clamp to the headstock, and getting the forks fitted and getting the bike up on its wheels. That's my next objective for the next video. So there we go. So that's part 1 for you now. Quite a short video, but hopefully you'll enjoy this journey with me and the owner of this bike as we go forward. So we'll catch up soon.